Some leftists in Finland here. It's been a while. I've been busy, been doing things, been moving, been studying, been all sorts of stuff. Um, Also spending way too much time on the internet, enough time to be able to see this whole this masculinity thing is just getting a little bit out of hand. It's starting to become comical. I see people post things about how things are getting so soft and my generation was so much tougher, and they ignore the fact when they say that their generation was so much tougher, that their generation didn't have the kind of information that newer generations have about, head trauma, for example, or about mental illness or burnout, taking time off. Men don't do that. Men don't wear all of these additional safety features, and it varies from man to man, from masculine asshole to masculine asshole. And if masculinity, if that works for you, if that's the way that you want to live your life and you think that that's right for you, go ahead, be that way. Strut around, think that this is the way that you get women, think that this is the way that people should live, this is the way my daddy taught me, fine. But just like anything else, just like any other dogma, just like any other, mode of thinking, stop pushing it on everybody else, especially your children, especially your male friends. The way that I see men talking to one another and still pushing these agendas of toughness, toughness, and all society needs to get back on track is a little bit more toughness and a little bit more grit. You know, the Mike Rowe type of people who think that the answer to everything, just like this current coalition government here in Finland, that the answer to everything is to just roll up your sleeves and work more, do more work, more and more and more work, and just swallow those feelings down. What was it from Always Sunny? Um, Push it down with some brown, something like that. Um, what is spurring this video on? Because there's usually something that I see that makes me want to turn on the camera and talk. I was watching Sylvester Stallone talk. Well, talk is one way of putting it, more like mumbling and incoherently and just muttering about how when he was filming his movies where he pretended to beat people up and pretended to get beaten up, men were so much tougher. We didn't wear these kinds of gloves, that got all of this padding, and oh god, that's so soft. It's like a pillow. It's like a pillow. These guys are in there wearing pillows now. We wore these thin tissue paper thick gloves, and we may as well have been in there bare knuckled, and it's because men were tougher. It's because people were stronger. It's because people had more grit and blah 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 blah. You can really see that a lot of those fake punches must have landed in all those Rocky movies, because the head trauma this man must be going through is intense, and I feel sorry for him. And I feel sorry for anybody who thinks this, because what you're ignoring when you say that things were so much tougher, like, things may have been tougher, yes. People? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The things that we do now to make things safer for your children, for future generations, are because we have more knowledge. These people who are suffering from dementia, from all the head trauma they received, people who are suffering from cancer because of the asbestos that they breathed in, or any of the other chemicals that we now ban, people who are disfigured because of auto accidents because they didn't have this safety feature, or are suffering from any type of injury or malady because of some safety feature they did not have then that we have now. Those are like the test subjects. We're learning from these people. A big example are all of these former NFL football players who end up doing all these wacky things, and then we discover that their brains are turning into mush, with these tau proteins as a part of CTE. And it's because they get hit in the head so many times, or they get hit in the body so many times, and it sends shocks up, like, these are things we know now. So we act accordingly. Why? to make things safer for future generations. Why is that now a fruity thing? Can you actually fucking believe that there are people who think that this is a negative in this world? That because you had it so rough, that because you had to go through all that pain and suffering and torment, and you had to go through all those concussions, and that these things built your character and made you who you are? Is that really all you are, the sum of your fucking concussions? In some ways, yeah, but is that who you are? All of the trauma that you had to go through that other people are not going to have to go through? Whatever happened to the concept of leaving the next generation better than the one you inhabited? Whatever happened to that concept? Why are you so insistent on your children, especially if they're going to go into a sport, going through the same rough and tumble shit that you had to go through? Because you think that it's going to build something within them. Don't you think it might be a little bit better for them if they don't have to struggle and suffer as much as you had to? And I know so many people are so adamantly against that. They'll say, "Oh no, if they're not dry heaving, and if I'm not having to watch them while they sleep, and if they're not having constant migraines and headaches, and these were things that made me tougher, and like, you think they made you tougher. You don't know that these things made you tougher." Because you don't know if next year is the year that you start showing those signs of dementia way earlier than anybody should have to. You don't know if next year is the year that you're going to have that hip replaced, or that you're going to start having those chronic migraines that just won't go away. You might already be suffering from a lot of these things, and you think it's all worth it. Even if it makes you a bitter, soulless, careless, masculine asshole to this day, which is a big reason why I think so many older men are the way that they are. All of the pain and the trauma, physical and mental, that they went through in the past, they've just kept it inside. They've bottled it up, and they think it's making them tougher, but in reality, it's just made them assholes. It's made them depressed. It's made them anxious. It's made them bitter, resentful. It's made them so many negative things that they have convinced themselves is so great. But it's just a big collective trauma, a big collective pain that they think is something that their kid should have to go through, and their kid should have to go through. It is just stupid thinking. It's ignorant thinking. It is regressive thinking. Humanity should be progressing, not regressing with ideas like this. Oh, we should go back to the time when men were men. Yeah, we should go back to the time of lead paint. And we should go back to the time of... There seems to be like no middle ground for these people, They think it's all or nothing. No helmets in football, and people will talk about NASCAR even. I used to watch NASCAR back when I didn't know anything better to do with my time. One of my favorite drivers was Tony Stewart, because he was no nonsense. He was no bullshit. Every other driver was this pre-programmed, pre-recorded, "I'd like to thank my sponsor, and it was a tough day on the track out there, Sonny, but I tell you what, we're going to come back." He was just like, "No, fuck you, and I'm going to tell you why." And somebody asked him once, "Do you think the cars are getting a little bit too safe?" It was during a press conference. Tony Stewart was asked directly. Someone had the balls to actually ask the question. Do you think the cars are getting too safe? Because now we've got these Hans devices that prevent head trauma, and now we've got these better roll cages. We've got an aero package that, so the cars won't go... And I'll never forget, he said that, I think the things here in the press conference room are getting a little bit too safe, so why don't we start hacking some legs off of chairs? And there was just this silence, there was nothing that this reporter could have said back, because he probably realized how stupid he sounded by actually lamenting or sounding or even questioning the idea of things being safer so that drivers aren't getting hurt as much. Anybody who does lament safety features, I think NASCAR is a really, really good thing to look towards, or to look back on, because you had drivers dying every year. Before the Hans device, before safer barriers, before other implementations of safety features, And when's the last time a NASCAR driver died during a race? How many crashes have you seen where cars have gone damn near into the stands, have rolled over 25 times, have, You know, like Mark Martin, for God's sake, I remember a long time ago went full fucking speed into a wall and like went from 180 to zero and like nothing flat. Just walked out of the car. He may have been shaken up, but if that would have happened 20 years prior, gone, gone. So NASCAR, as stupid as it is a really good thing to look back on whenever you hear anybody talk about how stupid safety features are, and how things are getting a little bit too soft, too fruity. We're giving people too much rest. We're giving people too much time off. We're making these too soft. You know, just have them look at the history of deaths in NASCAR and compare them before safety implementations and after safety implementations, and you know you'll still hear people talking about the restrictor plate. Okay, I'm talking way too much about NASCAR, but it's just a really good example, I think, of how you can detect how ridiculous people sound when they think that you know, making things a little bit more, you know, when you make things safer, I think you make them more enjoyable because your body breaks down. Your body will always break down no matter what, but your body breaks down slower, so you can enjoy your time more. You can enjoy the sport that you're playing more. Um, on and on and on and on. I don't necessarily think that people were tougher back in the day. I think that times were tougher because they had to be, because they didn't have knowledge. They didn't have the technology to understand things the way that we do now. And to lament that fact and to try to foist the same preventable problems on future generations, I think is just downright fucking sadistic. And I think that you should be barred from any future discussion about safety or security or anything. You should just shut your fucking mouth. You know? That's really all I have to say about that for now. Masculinity. And people wonder why they're, like I said, like why there are so many violent men in this world, why there's so much domestic violence at the hands of men, disproportionately in the face of women, and so many violent drunk men in Finland doing so many sexual crimes, and they're being told somewhere by some person that their feelings, you bottle them up, you keep them inside, and that anger grows and it builds, and then it has to just spill out to other people. Um, I think one thing that could be seen as a safety measure, not only personally but for society, is mental health awareness. And when you are not aware of your mental health and what you're doing to your body, other people have to suffer for it. So it is also selfish for you to lament all of these things that we're doing that you just think are just too soft. Blow it out your ass. Just blow it out your ass. And while you're blowing it out your ass, have a good day, folks.